Good morning. Good morning. We're about to get started. All right, good morning, everyone. To talk about today, and to share, so we're going to go to the further. I know I still see some people coming in, but I'm glad that you're here. And we've got some good information to share. So I do have our Zoom going on as well. So good morning to our Zoom people that are joining. So I've got a presentation up here now with the new Promethean, but I've also got it here on the screen because we are recording as we normally do so that we can share it with our families. Because we do put it out for everyone to know the information. And so we will be sharing that later on today once we get the Zoom recording going. Okay, but to get started, before we do anything, I started trying to do some icebreakers as we move forward. So here's our icebreaker for today. I've got 3 pointless questions. They're completely pointless. Like there's no rhyme or reason. It's 3 pointless questions. I want you to pair up with 2 or 3 people and then choose one of these questions to answer. Okay, so again, you're going to choose 2 or 3 people to get a group, and you're going to choose one of these questions to answer. So again, if you could invite a celebrity over for dinner, who would it be and why? What is your most prized possession and why? And you have an unlimited supply of one thing for the rest of your life. What would you do? What would you choose? Okay, so again, so now I'm looking at my watch. Go ahead and get in your group, sign again 2 or 3 people. A group together to answer one question. You'll have to share. Okay, Zoom, this is what we are doing. They are talking about these pointless questions that they're looking at and just getting in groups just as an icebreaker, these 3 pointless questions, just to kind of get everybody chatting and as active in the meeting. So there's somebody helping. I said my father is my people. You started saying other stuff. They want to have what over? Oh, from house. Great, one more fun answer. I heard y'all laughing. Spencer, I saw you do something. What were y'all talking about?
Well, we were talking about like fighting stuff.
Christy's gonna cheer on behalf of Christy.
Christy said that
Or cow.
I thought she said
We had a mix up. So she said cows. For those of you that are on the Zoom, she said her most prized possession was cows, but then Spencer thought it was house. And then Laura thought it was couch. That's like gossip, you know, in television we used to play, you can all get mixed up, it's all in how it is said, so. All right, well, that was just a little thing to do to break the ice this morning, but we're gonna look at and move on with our agenda. We do have a lot to cover this morning, and so we're gonna go ahead and get started with everything. We did our welcome and our icebreaker, now we're gonna move into celebrations. We also have our campus review, we're gonna look at our data. We're also gonna look at our targets and our CIP review. And then also our summative evaluation, which has been completed. We're also going to talk about the needs assessment that we did here on campus about the needs like the professional development and as far as meeting the needs of our kids academically. We're also going to talk about the campus improvement plan and begin planning for next year after looking at the needs assessment. And then we also have our preliminary budget planning for title. Upcoming events that we have is we do have our second graders visiting Joel next week, as well as their fun day. Hopefully many of them are earning tickets for entrance and for the carnival pieces of it. We also have our VIP brunch, our VIP celebration. We're still working out the details on that. And then May 25th is our end of year celebration growth awards and the last day of, you guys, it is coming here rapidly. So just be ready for that. But let's get into everything that we got to cover this morning. First off, we want to look at celebrations, and we have a lot to celebrate. We did have a field day in person outside for the first time in a long time in March, and it was great. Bree and her team did an amazing job with that. And we did have several parent volunteers. That's one thing that we're still working to build up is our parent volunteer base. We did have some volunteer. I know Mr. Buka worked the booth for some of them. We didn't have as many sign-ups as we want to, but we did have a lot in attendance. And so we're working to build that up. Then we also attended the job fair. We had another face-to-face job fair where we got applicants for candidates. Right now, we don't really have a few positions, mainly support staff positions that we're looking to fill. So again, maybe we'll be able to pull from those applicants after we look at the transfer list. So the transfer, we can take transfers up until Friday, up until tomorrow. And so we're still working on having several interviews with people that are on the transfer list. But then after that, we will be looking at some of those applicants that we found at the job fair. The next thing we have to celebrate is we completed our fundraiser. We're still working on totals, but we do start the prizes today. I believe we have the circus this morning, and then tomorrow is the dance part or the DJ party. And then we're working on the popcorn with the principal. So we had a great fundraiser. We've also had 2 programs since the last time we met. We had first and second grade programs that were absolutely amazing. Good job, Rob. Another thing that I'm so excited about, and y'all, I forgot to do it last Friday. I don't know why. I had a headache. Maybe that's why. I'm not sure. But I can tell you, I had classes that sang anyway because I got videos. But we introduced our school song, and again, thank you to Robbie King for writing that. So proud of that song, and they do such a good job singing it. But that house team was the one that we introduced it in, and now we do it every Friday when I don't forget. It was in the announcements. That's the thing. I don't know how I forgot it, but I did. Another thing that we have to celebrate is, oops, I went the wrong direction on the Zoom. Sorry about that. Okay, another thing, we also finished our BOGO book fair, so that was some thank yous that I received, and that was an amazing thing that we were able to do because of title funds. Was our BOGO book fair where every one of our kids got 2 books and they got to choose them. We also had some of our staff participate and believe some things in Ed Tech Live. Since we began our ABC countdown, and y'all, there's nothing like coming around the corner to a dinosaur. There's nothing like it. And so you just never know what you're going to see in the halls of Uber. And so that again was one thing we kicked off and that we're still doing through the end of the year is our ABC countdown. Then another thing we have to celebrate is we were able to provide snacks for Joel on their first day of testing. And we did do it in snacks of red and blue and yellow and silver because we're supposed to get to gray. So that we had it so that it was Joel and Hooper combined with the colors. And so thank you to Denise and Laura for making that happen. So we were able to provide that. And then also we had some students take part in the Ed Tech Student Expo. And again, this was Katie Ayers' class. She took it upon herself and they did a great job there. They're displaying Bebop and how they use those to code. And so that was something that was really exciting to see as well. And we have lots of celebrations, you guys. Lots of things have been happening. Next thing we were able to do, we were able to celebrate. What I do, Spencer? It's not doing for me. Spencer, come help. So, as he gets it fixed for me, because you know these new Prometheans are smarter than I am. Actually, I'm not. If you go down to the bottom, you can just do the arrow too. If it doesn't do it, the screen. There we go. We were able to celebrate our VIPs. We actually had some VIPs at our district luncheon, so that's exciting. And we also kicked off our volunteer handbook and stuff this week, so that's exciting. Then we had our game night. You guys, we had 500, I believe, RSVPs. I don't know that everybody showed up, and honestly, if everybody showed up, I don't know that we could accommodate because we were very full at the game night. But game night was a great success. And then we've also had special guests this year. This is Annie, the astronomer, but she was also Mother Goose. So she's come to us twice. But then we've also had our storyteller, which I have another picture of as well. So looking at our next ones, there we go. Nope, that's Spencer. I don't know what I'm doing here. There we go. I'm just going to use the arrow there. That'll work even better. Maybe it won't. Okay, there we go. We had our instructional night this week to where we had our storyteller, Karen Lowry, who has been with us for several weeks. In fact, she will be here again today, right? Is that correct? Today, for pre-K in case she's been working with them. She'll also be here next week. So I think next week is her last week with us. But the kids love her, and she's been great at introducing vocabulary too with our kids and really building that up for our students. That's helped them on some of their assessments. But we also kicked off volunteers in the instructional night, and then also did Harris County Library was here to talk about getting library cards, and there are things that you could do. And then we're still doing engaged lessons, even though it's here, second grade gamified things for math to get them ready. And so you can see that we had Mario and Luigi here. And then also, if you look, I was a mushroom. I don't know if you've seen that picture, but I was a mushroom. So there you go. And then we're super excited because we had a model teacher crowned earlier this week. There's a model teacher for the district. And so Ariana will be having people come in that they need to see model teaching into our classroom. And then we have 2 more possibly on the horizon. We're still waiting on those. So again, it's very exciting because even district has said when they have met with us, there's no need for us to send our teachers to other people to see because we have model teachers right here on campus. So that's super exciting to be able to celebrate. So those are our celebrations. We have a lot to celebrate, you guys. Okay, and now we got to move in though to data, and there's a lot with data. There we go. First and foremost, one, you have table copies of the targets on your table. Those are our targets that we set for the year. But all you need to understand and know is that right now we're still testing, so we don't have all the data in yet. So we're going with what we have, and then what will happen is next year, as we start Cpoc in the beginning of the year, we will then be able to do our end of year comparisons once we have all that data. That is not unusual. It's not anything new. I mean, it's even like for Joel, they won't have their data for STAR when they did their Cpoc either. We're just going with what we have. What we can look though here is this is our English language arts data. And if you look at it, we can look at the kindergarten went down a little bit here at the end of the year, but I did get a text from Leanne just this morning because she is not here today. And she said she really thinks after looking at the data, kindergarten is actually going to be higher than that. But this is why what we went with, and they actually started getting data to me at the end of the last week, first of this week. So again, we're still collecting data, and she's expecting kindergarten to be higher than that. We did go down a little bit, but remember, it gets harder because now they're learning to read. And they are supposed to be expected to end at that C level. We really try to get them to a D because they're more successful in first grade if they can be, but that's C level. But we're also going to talk about a little bit that moving into next year. First grade though, look at the growth that we've seen. That's huge. That is huge. So great job, first grade teachers. Same thing with second grade. I know Leanne and I talked to this was last week, that remember we learned that there was a discrepancy between the level ends that we had, that Joel had compared to our level end that our second graders ended on. And we were actually testing our second graders on Joel's end to see how they did. And actually out of 78 kids, if I remember right, 65 of them passed the Joel end. And so again, that's huge. So again, the growth that we're seeing is really great, and it's exactly where we need to be, and we're making the strides that we need to make. Okay, next though, these are our IRLs, which is our reading levels. And so you can see again, kindergarten went down just a bit, but again, Leanne did say she's expecting it to be a little bit higher than that. First grade is right where they were. And then second grade, again, we see that bump in and that jump in that growth of the reading level. So that's, again, making growth. That's what we want to celebrate is our growth because we're getting there. They're on the roll, as Erica Sanchez used to say. Okay, then looking at our math data, again, we only have what we have as of now. Everything is not in yet. So as of now, again, kindergarten DPM at middle of year was 95. Our target was 95. So at that middle of year, we have met our targets. Okay, then at the and then first grade, again, our middle of the year was 79. Our target is 95. So again, we're working to get there, but we also to remember that our kindergartners that were now first graders, they struggled some last year. And there is also that big jump. That's one thing we're going to talk about. And so again, just having growth of where it's even from that beginning of the year to the middle of the year, the goal is growth. And so again, we'll look at targets, and remember, we're kind of comparing apples to oranges when we look at it, because of the fact that our targets are set by last year's scores. So it's a totally different group of kids that we're even looking at as well. Okay, then looking at our kindergarten DPMs. This is our cluster comparison. Again, all we have is beginning of year and middle of year because we're still working to get through the end of the year. But again, when you look at our kindergarten, at beginning of year, we were at 76. At middle of the year, we were 95. So again, big jump there. And then when you look at first grade DPM, we were 76 at the beginning of year, and then 79 at middle of year. And again, we're right in line. You can see cluster, what it is we're grouped with ones that are comparable to us in their demographics, especially the educationally disadvantaged population. And you can see we're right in line with where we should be, even with the cluster. Then second grade, and this is where it's super exciting to be able to see, Hoover is the blue, and then the district is the red, and then our targets. Look at our target. Our target's 35. We beat our target every time this year. So that's really good. So April, we were at 84%. I mean, at 79%. The district was at 84. So see, we're not even that far behind where the district should be. And we've been pretty much in line. But if you look here, like we were only 3 points away from the district, even in our March one, and then only a few more from the one in April. So that's again where we want to be. But again, look at where our target was compared to where we're at. That's amazing. So great job, second grade math teachers. And then here's our first grade DPM by cluster, or say it is. I went backwards. Sorry, I went backwards on this one is what I did. Sorry. Okay, here we go. This is where we're at. Second grade 2022 passing rate 23 by cluster. Again, the district is the blue now. We are the red. And so you can even see in October, we were actually towards the top of our cluster. Same thing in November, we were more towards the top. In January as well, we're right up there with everyone. And same thing, we weren't quite up as high as McPhee, but again, we still were towards the top. We were second in our cluster. So we're right, again, we're making strides and making the growth that we need to see. Again, this does not have end of year data in it yet because we're still collecting data. Okay, then we want to look at discipline data. You guys, this one excited me actually. And I know we're going to talk about some things because it came up on the needs assessment as we move forward. If you look, in 2018, 2019, which was the first year Melissa started with us, and so we started tracking the data, we had 481 referrals then. We've progressively gone down, but you guys were at the lowest that we've been this year. Now I know we've had some struggles with behavior, and right now it's dampened up even more just because they're antsy and they're littles and they're wanting to get out of school. But you guys, that's really good because that shows we put things in place and that we're really utilizing our PBIS system to really help minimize those behaviors. And so that is really good that we have systems and such in place. And then looking at, this is our referrals, the main ones are by the breakdown by grade level. As you can see, the largest grade level with the highest amount of referrals is first grade. And I can guarantee you that in the fall, we had one specific student that was vamping up a lot of referrals in first grade. And so that student actually moved to another district because they relocated. But that was one reason. But also we do have some strong behaviors that we've been working with, even like I know Ingrid on identifying some things that are there. So again, we've been working to help those students that are struggling in that area. And so, but again, still looking at kind of the overall, second grades went down. And I know we've got some behaviors in second grade that we're dealing with right now, but they went down. And the same thing with kindergarten, they went down. But again, you also have to look at you're comparing last year's kids to this year. So if you really look at, okay, last year our second graders had 42, so they went down because that's that group of kids. So when you look at it even that way, you're able to see some differences as well. You've got to look at the data multiple different ways when you're thinking about kids from last year that have moved up to a different grade level. Okay, then our top 4 infractions that we struggle with: physical contact with students. It didn't show up, but I noticed. Physical contact with students, then physical contact with adults, and then language and gestures, and then just annoying behaviors, basically. So those are our 4 highest ones. And again, this is our data from August to May 2nd. So that's when this data was run. So again, it still could change
because of finishing out the year, but as of May 2nd, this was our data. And these, honestly, these 4 behaviors are always our top behaviors, always. Because again, we work with littles and they're still learning to come to school. And so that's the reason these are always our top behaviors. Okay, so now we're going to move on and look at the campus improvement plan. Remember, we have 4 goals. 1 is academic achievement. 2 is the safe and healthy learning environment. 3 is the human capital piece, and 4 is the family and community engagement piece that we are looking at. And I'm hoping that my link will work. Sometimes it does, sometimes it doesn't. So, but I do have our link here to log to go to our CIP. Hopefully, like I said, it will let me log in. Sometimes the system has not been working the way that it needs to. See if I can get it over here so they all have it. Okay, there we go. Okay, yay, it works. Yay. I'm telling you, all year long, the system has been, remind me later. The system has been to where it will let you in and then it kind of just bounces back, and I've had to go through the crate actually to be able to do our CIP. Sorry, I'm having to do all this too. It's wanting me to, oh, there, I didn't even see the X, y'all. I'm just like, next. Okay, looking into, and let me get up here. Sorry, I'm trying to work 2 screens at a time. Okay, so looking at our goals, again, we have the 4 goals, and then we have performance objectives underneath them. Okay, we have done through, and if you look at the summit evaluation, because we're going to look at the May as well as the summit evaluation, and when we're looking at teachers trained in the 7 steps, if we did meet that goal, we met the performance objective, because again, every teacher has been trained and they're working to implement that to promote vocabulary. Same thing, let me move this, okay. Same thing with strategy 2. Again, we were looking at through purposeful planning, they will collaborate and implement explicit small group instruction. That is happening even in math, not just in reading on a regular basis. So again, 100% met that strategy. Okay, strategy 3, through intentional purposeful planning, they will collaborate and use manipulatives. Again, we don't see manipulatives all the time as much as we want to, but it has made a ton of improvement. So again, we're at 90%. So we didn't quite meet it, but we made comparable growth, incredible growth on it. So that's what we celebrate. So that's strategy 3. Then strategy 4 is science through intentional instructional purposeful planning. All teachers will collaborate to better implement hands-on science investigations and activities to help develop a conceptual understanding. Again, didn't quite make it to where we're at 100%, but we are at 90% to where we are seeing all hands-on. And I know even we talked about it in the 2nd grade about even bringing in writing more, because that's something that came out of our monitor team visits. And so again, we've made a lot of growth even on that. Strategy 5 is students will receive lessons covering nutrition and fitness, and will participate in fitness events at the campus and district levels. And again, we did meet that. I know that Bree and Travis both have been sharing those nutrition lessons. And then we've also done physical things with our field day. We also promoted the superintendent fun run, which we had students take part in that as well. So again, we did meet that also. And then strategy 6, eliminate the learning gap, increase the amount of quality instruction time. And that is like with our power hour with small group. And then also we did do some teacher workday camps. And then we also did the morning camp, which was not on here additionally, because we kind of trained the teacher workdays were not working as well. So we did morning camps. So again, not 100% completely, but 90%, again, considerable growth on that one. And then strategy 7, well-rounded education. They will provide enrichment courses such as house teams, makerspace, after-school activities with families, growth mindset, focus, vocabulary, social skills and announcements, and social emotional lessons. And again, 100%, we're still going to talk about social emotional lessons, but we have done our bringing out the best curriculum regularly this year. And then our next one is identify at-risk students. Let's see, on an area of need based on district progress monitoring, and provided additional support to meet specific academic needs. Again, I put 90% because we have work to, but again, we always have kids that may not get as much as we want them to get. So again, wanting to make sure that we had 90% with that. But we've had a lot be seen within interventions this year, a lot. And so that's really good. And then investment in classroom instructional resources. So we did do a die cut machine. We're still waiting on all of that kind of all to get here. So, but it has been ordered. We do have pieces of it. We just don't have all of it yet. And so that was one thing as well. So we will have that moving forward. So then now moving into looking at goal 2, again, overall, we met the performance objective with our safety door checks. I did put 90% because we're not finished with the year yet, and we still have to make sure that we're doing it. But I do know that we had one of our police officers here just last week walking around on Friday, and she said it was good. She walked through everything. And so then we also though have our emergency drills. We do have one more to complete, I believe. Oh, Friday. It's supposed to be Friday. We have one more. So, but again, we will do it because we have to do it. So at 9:35, teachers. And then attendance, and again, I put 50% on attendance because we still have not gone to where we're ready, where we need to be on attendance. This is definitely gonna be something we need to continue. Because I know the one thing we see is a lot of times, we've got to retrain on what good attendance looks like. Since COVID, it's just like, oh, well, let's just be out, So we got to train, and I know one of the things that I'm planning on trying to do in the future, not this year, because I'm a firm believer in clean beginning, clean ending. It's helping parents be in the know, because I know Ms. Luca and I talked about that. Parents may not even know that by their students being here at 10 o'clock, it's funding. And so again, the so you know type things I want parents to do, but again, clean beginning, clean ending. So I'm planning to try to start some of those. Spencer and I are going to be working on some so you knows moving forward to share with parents on that. Okay, and then sorry, I'm trying to move through this as quick as possible because we got a lot and I'm watching the time. And then restorative discipline, we've been doing that. They wanted us to make sure that we kept our decrease by 33%. Again, 85% is what I put. Again, considerable progress because in November we were at 40. And then in-school suspensions, we'll continue to follow all IEP accommodations. Again, still do that and modifications and make adjustments as necessary, 85%. And then special opportunity school SOS placements would stay down. We have had no SOS placements this year. And so again, that would be 100%. And then violence prevention, the implementation of project safety, again, 90% on that. So again, we're making strides on every goal. The one we didn't make the most goal on again was attendance, which we're working on that. And then moving forward, I'm going to move forward these rest really quickly if you haven't, but again, some progress may be towards it again because of attendance again for teacher and para attendance. And then regular celebrations, we do that. And then also receiving high quality professional development, again, 90%, just because again, I believe we can always grow in these areas. We do have several people though attending summer trainings this summer for professional development. And we've done a lot of professional development during the school year. And then the incentives that's coming down the path, we have the tickets, so we'll be getting that and the punch cards with you. We're just finalizing the list of what PD counts for those of you for that incentive that you will earn $50 towards your classroom budget next year. So we'll have that, and we're working on, we have the punch cards. We just are still working to compile the list. So that will be coming so that we can do that. And then last, but certainly not least, is our family engagement piece. And when we look at that, we work to increase by 5%, and we have done that. So again, we do our newsletter regularly in English and in Spanish to keep parents in the know. So 100%, because our last one just went out last week. We also have opportunities for parents to take an active part in their students' learning. Again, we have provided several night events. We're working next year. Our plan is to have some more day events as well. But we also have done some day events as well with like field day, parent readers, those types of things. And then opportunities for parents to volunteer. Again, this is our first year that we've really gotten back into that. So we're really excited about that. And then we also kicked off for next year as well. So we're excited about that. Okay, moving back to our plan here. Okay, now looking at our needs assessment, and again, I'm going to go through this really quickly. I just broke it down to like the top 3 or 4 that I saw. The first question was, what PD do we need to support the needs of our students? A lot was on classroom management and de-escalating behavior. So as we do the faculty meeting plan for next year, that's something we're going to be talking about. Also differentiation, and I know differentiation comes up in all of my summatives. Because a lot of times, even in seasoned teachers, we don't see differentiation happening as much as it should happen. And so that's something as well. And I don't think, honestly, personally, I don't think colleges, or at least my colleagues, didn't do a really good job of making sure that that was an explicit thing that they taught. So it's something I see across the board with teachers. And then also small group instruction, conferring phonics, and decodable reading. Those kind of all go together. And then what materials? Small group and station materials, SEL items, calm down, sensory items. Everybody does have a calm down kit or cool down kits. But again, we can always build those up even more. And then books, especially decodable ones, which again is going to come out. And then headphones came up. You guys, this is the thing about headphones. If I buy headphones, there's gonna have to be a teaching thing, because we wasted so much money the first 2 years with headphones, because they weren't taken care of. And so again, if we buy headphones, and you have class set, it's gonna have to be that you have to explicitly teach how to take care of them, because again, we wasted so much money, because I bought hundreds the first 2 years. And you guys, especially the expensive, and I bought the expensive ones. I didn't buy cheap ones all of them. I bought the expensive ones and they still got fun. So again, we're gonna have more discussions on that, but that's gonna be something, if we do purchase those, we have to have explicit instruction, just like we do on how to take care of books, how to take care of headphones. We'll have to have that discussion. Okay. Another thing, let's see, on our needs assessment, oops, I went the wrong way here. Sorry about that. On our needs assessment, next is what PD do you need to support your classroom management? Again, dealing with difficult behaviors, de-escalating behaviors, morning meeting and behavior circle, which that's going to be things that we talk about at staff retreat coming up in August, and then also the zones of regulation. Then we looked at how our PD that we did, and again, we didn't have 100% participation in our survey, you guys. I want to get your input, but you gotta provide it, and I sent it out multiple times. But again, everybody said that they got something out of it. Our largest percentage was at this 4. So again, everybody that did, but again, we want to make sure, and that's the reason we do ask you, what PD do you need? So we just do the needs assessment, but remember, even at the beginning of the year in the FTP, I include a survey, and it was actually in there all year long, of what PD would you like to have and what would you like to experience. And so again, we value your input, we want it, and we listen to what you're saying, but we need you to fill it out so that we have your input, because that's what I see most often, is that we're not getting the input because the people aren't always participating doing that. Okay, next thing we looked at was how can we better provide opportunities for your input? Again, surveys for stars and wishes, other things for Q&A time with interventionists and ISs, a suggestion form that can address in fact FTP or faculty meeting, and then several said though that they believe their input is taken into consideration and their voice is heard. We did have that as well. And then in what ways can we provide opportunities to discuss concerns with administrators? Again, surveys, a form like the counselor. So Sheree, I want to kind of let's review your form again. I thought that was a great idea. Like the counselors, to where we can kind of have an idea and then go talk to that person about, so that we can address it, just like y'all do, kind of get the information before you go talk to a student. And then lunch with the principals and APs, perhaps once in 9 weeks. And then again, several express that they feel comfortable talking to admin. Okay, so that is looking at that, and then looking at, and I'm watching my time, y'all. Sorry, wrong thing, went wrong. Okay, again, how can we provide that? Why did it skip my one? It's skipping it. Okay. So did it change? Okay, there we go. How can we better provide better opportunities again with stars and wishes? Okay, but again, please share this I'm looking at, because that's it's the same thing. I got it copied twice. Sorry about that. But then the bottom one is please share any other needs you see exist on our campus. One person said, or one thing was Joel alignment is occurring, but also work on the alignment from K to 1, which we totally agree on. That's we're working on moving forward. Also coaching, which we're working to get somebody in a position where they can coach. And then also consider calendar items when coupled with testing. So we'll definitely keep that into consideration. We have put a lot of things already on the calendar and when the 18 did our retreat, but we will go back and look at the testing calendar once it is set and look from there. Also ideas of hard top training spaces, and you guys, that is in the works, but we have to wait till the fall now because it's getting too hot to do it. And then also support teacher training. And actually we, the ISs are actually doing a training with all support staff that sign up actually in the summer this year. So that is one thing that will be taking part in. Okay, if you did not do the needs assessment, we can still take your input, because again, we did not get everybody. And again, this is for teachers because of the fact that it's their professional development. There's the needs assessment there. Then moving forward very quickly, because I've got to get y'all to duties, is we're going to look at the campus improvement plan. We know that we have specific goals on the campus improvement plan, those 4 goals. So if we, and I'll go back, you can scan this, and I did check the QR codes, they do work, I checked them. You can scan this and provide input on the goals, and I will also send this out. I will send out the form as well, because we're having to rush through the rest of it. But again, it's just going through what objectives would you like for us to see after looking at the data, looking at that there. And I will send this out. And then moving forward, and I will also send this out too, is planning for our title budget. These are the things we've done this year. We've paid for 2 staff salaries, but I'm considering adding 3 more support staff, maybe because I have an idea. So that's an idea for maybe that's considering for next year, if we can get them. That's the problem, is we haven't been able to staff all of our para positions. Is the problem. Okay, then we also have our 4 temporary workers that are doing interventions. We had our field trips. We did one in 1st and 2nd grade, but then also kinder did one here. And that actually costs money as well, because they all got a cookie from the cafeteria, because they didn't even know we had a kitchen all factory, y'all. They got to wear the hairnets and everything. Then we did the buy one, get one. We've had our special events like Annie the Astronomer, Mother Goose, our storyteller, all of that comes out of our title budget. Then also professional development for staff. We actually have paid for people to go through CPI, which is our first aid. We're paying for people to go through stuff this summer. So that's the thing. I know Spencer went to a technology thing. And then also our instructional nights and programs are paid for that kind of stuff, like even our game nights. We use title funds for the snacks. We also did a lot of teacher wish list items, and we'll be doing teacher wish list again in our staff retreat in August. And then daily instructional materials, because Denise is always shopping. And then PBIS items, we did the digital die cut machine again, Annie, astronomer, storyteller. We also have summer books for professional development. We're going to be rolling out soon. And then attendance incentive items. Again, we're working on that. That's a goal to buy some stuff with that. And then our summer professional development activities. And so again, I will send this out today, but again, you do have the opportunity to have your input on our Title I budget planning. And so again, it's just a Google form that you'll go through and just give us your input. So again, I will be sending out this presentation. But also I will send out the links for y'all to do these as well. Okay, so that is that. But again, thank you. It's been a year, a good year, y'all. And we're almost we have got 10 days. Have a great day. I'll see you around. Thank you all so much for taking part. So I will be sharing out this information for y'all as well, so that you can provide your input, because it is needed and valued. So have a great day.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you.